Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and in this one we are going to talk about yesterday's major update for Helldivers 2. That is right, we got access to Into the Unjust major update which went live. Took us a few hours to get access to the actual content, but we eventually got there, and boy is it massive. We got access to the first Hive terraformed world, which is overshown, I think, overshown or something. So yeah, and let me tell you, the new enemies, the new planet is testing, right? It is brutal. It is, especially if you're playing on Super Helldive, right, on level 10 difficulty. It is just such a headache to deal with, right? You need a very, I think it is a lot more easier to play if you're playing as part of if you're playing with friends as part of a squad. Things will be a lot more easier because never before has team work been so important, I would say. So you can still play solo queue, it's fine, right? It's not an issue. I've played solo queue, but you just need to communicate well with your teammates and what we need to do, because sticking together is so important, right? Because once you're underground, you cannot reinforce easily. Everyone gets reinforced outside unless there's like a hole in the ceiling nearby where you can reinforce stuff through. So that's like the only opening when you have a little bit of play, right? But other than that, dealing things with underground is just super brutal. All right, first let's talk about in general, right? Everything in the new planet and the new enemy types just does so much acid damage, just so much. I think this is why the new war pond, which is going to come out tomorrow, is going to catered for these hive worlds, right? They have some hive resistant acid resistance armors and stuff like that. So but as of now, if you guys have did purchase the AC1 dutiful armor, which is one of the armors that came with the Killzone crossover, this already provides with 50% acid resistance, right? So this is I've been rocking this armor as of yesterday, and trust me, my survivability just went up, right? Because there's just so much acid damage from these new Bile Spewers, their Dragon Roach and stuff like that, which just shreds your health bar. So yeah, just putting this one out there. All right, so let's talk about the new enemies, right? What can we tell about them? So first, let's start with the Rupture Warrior. The Rupture Warriors are basically, so all of the new enemies, the Rupture enemies, right? They are basically more armored variants than their regular selves. They have these armor platings. So light armor penetrating ammo will just bounce off their plates, so medium penetration does the trick. So the Rupture Warrior is, yeah, it's just the underground version of the Warrior. It digs underground, heads up to you, and does a pop out attack, and then chunks half your health. And they sometimes come in groups of fours or threes, sometimes five, and they come and all attack you at the same time, and they insta kill you. So I feel like they are a bit too OP as of now. Their damage numbers might need to be tweaked, or their numbers in general might need to be tweaked eventually from the devs. But I just feel like there's just way too much, and they do way too much damage as well. Because you try, like, if you're isolated, you can kind of like listen. If they're also isolated, you can listen to them coming and try and dodge them. But the dodge window is also weird, because no matter how much you dodge at the perfect time, you think you dodge at the perfect time, the attack still auto targets you somehow. So yeah, I'm still a bit unclear on the dodge window for the attack, but regardless. Um, so yeah, I just feel like they just do way too much damage, or their numbers are way too big. So something needs to be tweaked, because definitely when you're dealing in the underground, when visibility is low and there's so much happening and you can't hear shit, you can't tell if they're heading towards you, if they're going to attack you. So yeah, something needs to be done just to tweak their damage or their numbers a bit. Next up, the Rupture Bile Spewer. Oh my goodness. Like, I thought the Bile Spewer was bad enough when he does its acid vomit thing onto you. But these guys are even worse, the Rupture Bile Spewers, because they are straight up like a freaking turret, right? They do so much acid damage, and they spew so much bile. It's just insane. They just shreds you, right? So these guys are the same as this Bile Spewer, but they dig underground and then pop their head out, and then it's just like a turret, they just start spewing bile, or they do like a small bile mortar, like a grenade launcher type attack, right? and it's just so much acid damage. So the good news is that they at that point they immobilize. You can quickly dodge the attack and then quickly get some quick headshots in and quickly take them out, right? But yeah, other than that, there's nothing else that's too special about them. They do just have the extra armor plating, but yeah, that's it. The Rupture Charger, just think of the regular charger that goes underground and just has that additional plating. But regardless, the way we deal with the chargers does not change as much, because you still use thermites or you use recoilless rifles to the head or quasar cannons to the head. Yeah, whatever it is. Flamethrower weapons also work as well, so you can just melt them through their plates. So yeah, it's just that they go underground. You just be very careful when they just pop out. It's just the regular charge attack, but it's done underground. So yeah, it can be a little bit annoying to deal with. Next, the Dragon Roach, right? The flying Bile Titan, right? I think this was sketched by a member of the community a while back in a Reddit post or somewhere. I think he or she must be really happy to see their design being brought to life. Yeah, the Dragon Roach. The Dragon Roach is actually, on its own, it's fairly easy to deal with. It doesn't do that much. It does a lot of bile attacks. It does a bile drive-by, stuff like that. But as you dodge it, it goes into hover mode, and then you can easily shoot some rockets, some grenades, some autocannon ammo, anything high hitting. A couple of shots, and then he should go down, right? But yeah, it's not that difficult to deal with. He becomes really incredibly annoying if you're dealing with a bug breach as well. If he shows up in the middle of a bug breach, or while you're fighting other enemies, or while you're extracting in the middle of other enemies, and he shows up, that's when he becomes really annoying. So, but in a 1v1, yeah, he's not that difficult to deal with, I would say. So yeah. And finally, the final new enemy, the Hive Lord. Yeah, these guys just randomly show up, right? I'm not entirely sure when, if there's a specific map they show up in, or if there's a specific condition under which they show up in. To me, it's just random. I played in so many different maps, so many different missions so far, and they've only shown up twice in 2 different maps, which is totally random, which I felt like was like a random occurrence. So yeah, Hive Lords. So do we need to take them out? No, not really, unless they are the objective, but you can completely ignore them. But it is quite satisfying to kill one, but they are massive. Like, they put Bile Titans to shame. They put a freaking, I don't know, they put everything to shame. They are super massive. I mean, if you thought the Dragon Roach was bad enough with all the bile spewage, this one is like a freaking garden hose, but planet size. Just so much bile attacks when it pops out of the ground. Does so much rock attacks falling on you, and then sometimes it does a slam attack. If you get caught, you just get crushed to death. Does so much damage. If you get caught when it's tunneling underground, it doesn't go underground, but it just burrows, on the surface level. If you get caught, you get knocked back, miles away, and then you take fall damage. So yeah, it takes a lot of missiles, autocannons, grenades, airstrikes, orbitals to take him down, but you can eventually, so you can just target the weakness, the fleshy bits of it in between the plates, right? It will eventually go down, right? But it's just going to soak up quite a lot of, your armory, your ordnance, your artillery, and it's going to take a few reinforcements away as well to fight this thing. But it can be eventually done. So killing a Hive Lord, still I haven't seen it provide any rewards, right? No extra samples. It does not reduce enemy presence or anything like that, which I feel it should, because you just killed a Hive Lord. So I feel like the bugs should just kind of like run away and leave you alone for a little bit. Like, enemy presence should be reduced. There should be some sort of reward to killing a Hive Lord, but there's none so far. So I believe the devs need to address this, because it is quite a tough enemy to beat. And finally, let's talk about the new map variations and the new mission objectives that we can find. So maps, just think about the normal Terminid map, but with just massive amounts of acid pools and a lot of underground tunnels. That's about it. Visibility in the tunnels is super low. It always helps if someone has a torchlight. If you have no, eventually you get used to the tunnel, so you can navigate your way through even if you can't see. Much, but pinpointing the enemy can be difficult because they can be well camouflaged in, because there's the same color of the tunnels and stuff like that. So a torch is quite useful. Any weapon with a torch will help, right? Just one person needs to have a torch just to shine light, because otherwise it gets a little bit hard to see where you're going. But yeah, everything else stays the same. You get bug breaches in the underground. You can't use airstrikes. That's the thing, right? You get small openings at different sections of the cave, which you can call in, reinforcements, which you can call in resupplies. You can. I think it is paramount that everyone, like, there has to be someone who brings an exosuit in, right? A walker is so important for the underground tunnels. It is your heavy hitting turret slash artillery that you can bring into the underground. Like, it is the one thing that can help you push the waves of Terminate back in the tunnels. So yeah, to me, I found the walker being the most important stratagem of everything so far. Let's talk about some specific mission objectives. There's a lot of different missions, but a lot of it is, you can find the surface level variant in regular Terminate worlds, right? Kind of like the nuke the nursery, nuking the nurseries, oil extraction, the regular oil extraction missions, and stuff like that. It's just that it's just the underground variants of them. So it's a whole lot different. It's not that different. Purging hatcheries, it all makes a return, but underground variants, so it's not that different. The newest two new objectives I've seen is, one is the Hive Lung, right? Where you follow these big veins underground, and you try to look for the one that the lung, right? The Hive Lung that produces the spore, and blow it up with a portable hull bomb. So that's quite an interesting objective to undertake. But I think it can get bugged sometimes, because sometimes, depending on how it's structured out, there are some bridges that leads to the Hive Lung, and these bridges can be broken, and then you have no way to access the Hive Lung. So I've noticed this happen. This has happened just once to me. So I'm wondering if it's an issue with the map design, or if it's an issue in general with the Hive Lung maps. So yeah, I'm not sure. So sometimes it can be a bit annoying to deal with the Hive Lung in case when you can't reach the Hive Lung. So far, it takes like 2 portable hell bombs to destroy the Hive Lung. I'm not sure why does it take 2 portable hell bombs when it should have just blown up with 1. So maybe they just need to reduce the health on it. It feels like it can take quite a bit of hits before it actually gets destroyed. So yeah, I think the devs need to look into that. And finally, the truck, the mobile oil platform mission, where you drive this massive oil rig across the map, excavating oil, and then finally a pelican comes and picks up that oil and goes. So yeah, this is a fun one, driving a big truck, but it can only fit 2 Helldivers on it. The other 2 Helldivers in your squad needs to walk, or maybe they can get an FRV and drive next to you. So that's a shame. And one Helldiver can get on the turret. It's an autocannon turret, and use it, but it has limited ammo. It'll eventually run out. Now that is unfortunate. I think it needs to carry more ammo, or it should have unlimited ammo, because I'm not sure. I mean, like, come on, like, right? And it needs to have more health. Sometimes it tanks a lot of damage. It does tank a lot of damage, but I just think it needs to be invulnerable, right? Because sometimes it can get destroyed due to unfortunate. Because sometimes the game bugs, the truck gets thrown away, gets unnecessary damage. It does like 360s. Yeah, I've seen weird stuff happen to trucks sometimes. There are a few glitches, but yeah, and then it gets destroyed. So I think the truck needs to be invulnerable, right? So something like that. So yeah, there you guys have it, the new update. It is a very challenging update, right? It is, because yeah, it makes sense, because we are fighting on the Hive world. I don't think it's that difficult. Like, I mean, like, it is difficult, but I don't think it's like to the point where I think they need to like, the missions are not doable or anything. It's all doable. I just think that they need to adjust the Rupture Warriors a little bit, so that you don't have to deal with way too many, or they don't do way too much damage especially given like the others feel okay, right? You know, the Rupture Bile Spewer, the Charger, the Roach. I mean, they feel fine, right? They don't feel overwhelming, right? Even though they can be, but the Warriors can be a little bit annoying when they show up in a pack out of nowhere, right? So yeah, I think the damage numbers need to be adjusted. That's about it. So yeah, there you guys have it. The new Into the Unjust major update. I hope you guys are having a blast playing it. Do share your thoughts, what you think about the update so far. There could be some other things which I've missed, but this is all that I've observed so far in my entire, you know, stream and playthrough of yesterday, the entire day of playing. So yeah, do share thoughts, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next live stream or video. Till next time, bye bye.